It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Got my legal hustle, welcome to the trap. I could blow a stack, bet I make it back. You can hit my line if you need a track, but we can't even talk if it ain't about the bag. Got my legal hustle, welcome to the trap. I could blow a stack, bet I make it back. You can hit my line if you need a track, but we can't even talk if it ain't about the bag. My studio sessions turn into fireworks. These reptiles on me like a Lacoste shirt. Plain Jane make your eyes hurt. Fuck a sponsor. My mission to give it your price, but without the concert. Pandemic showed me I could get it off the muscle. I be grinding year round. Y'all be waiting for the summer. I just fill the gaps. Don't need a light for the tunnel. Y'all looking highly disgruntled. I use the mic for my hustle. Dog, I came up. Triple beam changed up. Built the team, serving up the fiends through the screen. Living out the dream. Still independent. Don't need the red tape. Gang green, cut the dead weight, that's my headspace. Yeah, I've been a boss, I just now embraced it. Feeling in W9s like an application. Strong mind, advantageous, planning vacations. I put my dogs in the business like I'm Baron Davis.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry. You know, boy, source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there today. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Clipse once more. If y'all can remember, just the other day, we talked about how Swizz Beatz came to the rescue to save So Be It, right? Because of the sample clearance issue. Pharrell actually found the sample for So Be It on Swizz Beatz Instagram page where he was playing the record. He reached out to him, said, "What's that?" Swizzy sent it to him. Pharrell chopped it up, reversed it, put his game down, flip it, and reversed it for the Clipse. It came out to be a hit, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, they were having some issues getting in touch with the right people in order to make sure that that song could make it to the album. They had to change it. They had to do So Be It Part 2, did a more orchestral type of vibe. And then at the 25th hour, as the album was releasing, they were able to get the original sample cleared, which is now back on DSP streaming platforms. If you buy the digital version now, it's on there. But, it's just been a very interesting process, right? We talked about how Z had a conversation with Steven Victor the other day, basically outlining how that whole situation went from start to finish and Swizz Beatz' vital role in us getting that record back. I told y'all that Z was going to publish the rest of their conversation this week, and today it has been unveiled, all right? So today they're going to get into the actual rollout, right? And the rollout begins where the relationship with Clipse and Def Jam ends, as they're vacating the building, paying the $6-7 million, whatever it is that Pusha T had to put up to void his contracts and stuff like that, getting in touch with Roc Nation, etc., and then building out how they wanted to present this album in totality, not just the music, not just the visuals, but also all of the different platforms that they ended up visiting, interviewing on, the performances that they did on Colors, Tiny Desk, etc. All this stuff was premeditated. It wasn't happenstance. This was very carefully put together so that they could maximize their reach to the fullest point of their extent. You know what I'm saying? And I wish more artists in the industry, especially those that are independent or those that have, name recognition, right? Utilize your resources, man. Make those phone calls. Have a manager make those phone calls. That's what you got managers for. Call in the favors. I'm sure you've done plenty of favors for people throughout your career. Cash in on the favors that they owe you so that you can get your project out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and pull up the conversation with Z and Steven Victor to where we could get into the mindset of the Clipse. And of course, Steven Victor is manager of Clipse and Pusha T as a solo. All right. Once again, shout out to the homie Brian Zizek, aka Z. All right. So he says, in a quote here from Steven Victor, Push was on my phone every single day for a year. This rollout wasn't casual. It was a full-time commitment. All right. In part 2 of my chat with Clipse manager Stephen Victor, we discussed what went into the most intentional, talked about album rollout in recent memory. That is a motherfucking fact, right? So much so, you got a good rollout when the fans can acknowledge that it was a good rollout. Because some motherfuckers can be like, damn, there was a roll, but when we only knew it was coming out. Barely. All right. From the jump, Steven, Pusha T, and Malice had a goal. We knew the album was great. We knew the guys had a fan base, and we wanted to super serve them. Okay? Super serve. That is a very key term, because when you super serving your audience, you're basically making sure that their cup is filled, right? We don't want to miss on no angles. We want, and we were seeing clips almost daily, if not every 2 days or so. Interview here, music video there, another interview, performance on Colors, music video, new single. Like, those last couple weeks were extremely active, and even now that the album is out, they're still conducting interviews. They're going on the news. They're going on news channels, ABC, MSNBC, all this other shit. Like, they are completely making their rounds. They said that they knew the album rollout for Let God Sort 'Em Out would not be about chasing trends. The result, Let God Sort 'Em Out debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, selling 118,000 equivalent album units in its opening week. 6 tracks debuted on the Hot 100. The LP, their first release in 16 years, is a critical and commercial success. I got mine. Right? So what is this from Rock Nation? Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clipse, number 1 independent album, number 1 vinyl album, number 4 on the Billboard Hot 200, and 118,000 first week sales. I'm gonna read through this and then we're gonna get back to it. Clipse's Let God Sort 'Em Out debuts at number 1 on Billboard's independent charts via Rock Nation distribution. The iconic duo's first independent album sold 118,000 equivalent album units in first week. Today, Clipse Let God Sort 'Em Out debut number 1 on Billboard's independent albums chart, marking a significant milestone for Pusha T and Malice's first fully independent album release and the first full-length album in 16 years from the group. Okay? The achievements underscore Rock Nation Distribution's long-standing commitment to empowering its artists with full creative control while providing them with resources to distribute music effectively and efficiently. This successful first week is a testament to Clipse's unwavering commitment to authenticity and proof that you always win by betting on yourself. So this is Rock Nation Distribution President Christian Santini. I'm proud to congratulate them on this accomplishment and above all owning the full masters to this classic album. That will be the Clipse owning. Okay, this number 1 independent album is more than a chart position. It's a victory for pure artistry and fearless independence, Clipse manager Stephen Victor said. Pusha and Malice have never compromised their vision, and this moment proves that staying true to your art in its purest form can resonate on the highest level. As their manager, I couldn't be prouder to stand beside artists who fight for their freedom and always lead with integrity. The future is bright with Rock Nation. We hope to inspire a new generation to do the same. The critically acclaimed album was executive produced by Pharrell Williams and featured guest appearances from Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator, Nas, John Legend, The Dream, Ab Liva, Stove God, Cooks, and more. And just look at that star-studded lineup as an independent release. You wouldn't see that from too many people, but the Clipse, they just have so much cultural cachet that they were able to utilize in this rollout. All right, we'll continue. Now, according to Steven, nearly 80% of the rollout, visuals, content capture, timeline was already done or mapped out before they departed Def Jam. They say we needed someone who cared enough to help us execute our plan. That's where Rock Nation came in. All right. So they were already putting the plan together when they were still on Def Jam. But of course, Def Jam wanted to thwart the project simply because of a Kendrick Lamar verse that they felt could have been aiming at Drake, but really it was just the optics of Kendrick and Push linking up as the two artists that been shitting on Drake. So they say you take it off or you got to get the hell up out of here. They said we'll take the latter. Roc Nation provided Clipse with distribution, operational support, and a marketing budget, but they weren't handed a blank check. They say we had a budget and we did not go over budget. Steven confirms. Execution mattered just as much as the vision. Roc Nation pushing the Clipse like crack in the 90s, they say. Probably should have said 80s. Okay. They said, Stephen Victor says, I think there's something to be said for a label that handles your project with the level of care and detail that Roc Nation did, he continues. That care showed up in every detail, from timelines to touch points. Nothing was just handed off. They worked in unison. Okay? Clipse didn't want to rush the rollout. They wanted a resonant one. The length of the rollout wasn't only to drum up the most interest, but to give people time to sit with the songs. This isn't microwavable music. You need intellect and patience to digest it. Now, if you've seen some of the interviews that Clipse have done, Pusha T has said it very clearly. He don't want surface level fans. I believe he said this specifically in the Fat Joe and Jada one. He don't want surface level fans. He don't want people that just categorize the clip simply as coke rap without acknowledging the storytelling, the pain, and the other elements that go into their music. Specifically, even the biblical references, the allusions. And when I say allusions, I'm not talking about illusion like what you're seeing. I'm talking about allusions to their faith. They've always rapped about their family, from their grandmama to their grandmama, I think, so dope. Their mom, I believe, was an educator. Their dad was like a firefighter. Like, all of that stuff comes up in their music. Right? So when they speak on you need intellect and patience to digest it, it's not saying that you have to be the smartest person in the world to listen to the music, but you have to be willing to take in the messaging at its full capacity rather than to just look at it from one angle, right? As for execution, it helped that the album, aside from a few minor tweaks, was near completion before the rollout began. You have to have the majority of the music done to have a good rollout. That's from Stephen Victor. You can't move without product in the can. So for all the independent artists out there, if you're trying to put together a project and you want to reach, maximum visibility, something you can take from that. Make sure that you have everything complete first before you start trying to put it together. Be patient, they say. Before the launch, Clipse was deliberate about who received a review copy of the album and when. They say you don't want to give it to someone a week before, and you don't want to give it to them 6 months before. You want to give people enough time to live with it. Now, I think 6 months would have been probably too long, because then it becomes out of sight, out of mind. People forget about it. They go on to other things. But if you give it to them a week before, now they're rushing to get their reviews together. They're rushing to put their ideas together. It can be a haphazard review rather than, finding that happy medium where they can dedicate their time to listening to it a few times, coming back to it, living with it, taking a morning run, jog, go and get coffee, playing this shit. And then they can also get their other work done at the same time, but still come back to the album and fully flesh out how they feel. Another smart thing that you can take into consideration, everybody doesn't have access to publications to get those, advanced copies over. But if you can, it's good. It works in your favor. They say we didn't want someone to listen 3 times and publish a review. With Clipse, you might not even catch all the bars until the 6th listen. Steven continues, this wasn't a rollout for hype beasts. It was designed to maximize longevity. Okay? And here they're giving you links to reviews, all right? So this one, what is this? Pitchfork or some shit? No, that looked like Variety, damn near, or Rolling Stone, one of them motherfuckers. This here is The Guardian. Let's see. Steven insists if you put out good product, word of mouth will get you where you want to go. They knew what they had, so their job wasn't to manufacture interest. It was to amplify the interest they knew existed and was already real. Of course, the most critical part of any album rollout is the artist's full commitment. The brothers were away from home for extended periods. Every day it was ideas, phone calls, testing, scrapping, pivoting. It wasn't easy, but we got it to where we wanted it. The rollout wasn't without compromise. One idea fell through. The only thing that didn't happen that we wanted because of timing was some stuff we had planned with Nego. If you don't know Nego, Bape. All right? Just know Bape. He's done so much more than just Bape. But if you don't know nothing else, Bathe and Ape. Everything else on their list, completed. Even with the album rollout, their campaign continues. A rollout isn't only what comes before the release date. They say we have a bunch more creative, more recent, more in-person activations, and more music. This is just the beginning. They're treating post-release like pre-release. Don't forget, they could do a deluxe. And they could do a deluxe with shit, damn near an EP worth of new songs, remixes, who knows? Again, this is the Clipse we're talking about. They're loved by OGs. They're loved by the folks who came after them in the 2009, 2010 class that came to follow. And they're beloved by even newer artists, right? That can feel the authenticity of what it is that they have going on. So you just never know who they could pop out with. Next month, Clipse will embark on a 25-city domestic tour, during which they plan to capture behind-the-scenes footage. We're going to be putting that out as the tour is going on so people see what's going on the road. So not only are they going on tour, but they're also going to be releasing their own behind-the-scenes footage while on tour so that we can actually get an up-close perspective of what it's like for these guys going out on the road and doing this, right? And this tour will have Earth Gang opening it up. I love Earth Gang. I fuck with Earth Gang. I've seen them perform before they even got signed to J. Cole. I like the fact that it's a duo opening up for a duo, but I do think that there is a vast difference between Earth Gang music and Clipse. It's kind of like two different universes, but hey, let God sort it out. Ultimately, Steven says, it all comes down to this. No matter how great your ideas are, if you can't execute them, it doesn't matter. And no matter how great your execution is, if your ideas are bad, it doesn't matter. Marketers worldwide are nodding in agreement. So you got to still have all the elements come together at the right place, right time, that whole thing, which is hard to produce because you still got to have some luck on your side while executing. Push and Malice delivered an impact album and rollout. From a Colors performance to their tiny desk, numerous interviews with credentialed journalists, radio premieres, the ESPYs, and a Jimmy Fallon performance, Clipse did more than just promote an album. They raised the bar. If you enjoyed this thread and somehow missed part 1 of my conversation with Steven about how Swiss Beats helped the duo clear the sample on So Be It, you can read that below. We've already done that. We don't have to get into that. All right? So shout out to Z. Shout out to Steven Victor for being transparent and honest about how all this came together. This is really dope. Now, as all of this is coming to the surface, there's also a clip that's circulating today of the Joe Budden podcast. I know we just talked about the Joe Budden podcast yesterday. Joe Budden's projection for $20 million in 2025 calendar year for the business, not for him specifically. I think people need to also understand for the business, not for Joe Budden. Okay? So we're not going to stay on that too long, but just think about how businesses work. Anyway, they had a conversation about the Clipse, and they actually had a little bit of a debate about whether or not Clipse in this current iteration of their careers working with Roc Nation should be identified as independent. I've seen some misnomers out there. I've seen people misrepresenting them, trying to say, oh, Roc Nation is not independent. I don't see how you deduce that. They're a small company. They've only existed for like 15 years, but they have power players in the building. It's Jay-Z's company. What do you expect? But they haven't been around 100 years like a lot of these record labels have. Anyway, I'm gonna pull up this clip of them talking about it.
People wanting to hear their music too.
How are they independent?
They're independent with the distribution, which now looks not independent.
How are they independent with the distribution?
You own all your shit. You sign a distribution deal that still keeps you indie.
Yeah, you're still technically independent.
Oh, okay, y'all doing that Chance the Rapper shit. Y'all know Rock Nation now is acting as a one-stop shop after they purchased the every arm that they need to act.
And I don't even like how he just kind of threw Chance the Rapper out there. A lot of people have tried to say, you know, Chance wasn't independent. Chance was 100% independent just because he did partnership for 2 projects with Apple didn't make him any less independent. Independent does not mean poor, broke, destitute, fucked up with no resources. That's what you call a starving artist. A starving artist and independence are not one and the same. And Joe should know this because he's lived through both. He went from being a signed artist to being a starving artist to being an independent artist to being signed again at Shady to being signed independently at Empire to now owning his own independent empire with the Joe Budden podcast that doesn't have any major company upholding it. So I think it's very strange that he can understand that for himself, but not for somebody else.
To be clear, most of the big distributors are, though. So I understand what you're saying.
Or what?
Most of like the empires and shit, they've been moving like major labels for
a long
decade.
Mm-hmm.
So you view, and I don't want to derail. Y'all view what Empire's doing the same as what Rock Nation.
It's similar.
Is doing.
It's very similar.
It's very similar. Maybe different relationships, but very similar.
It's different in that Rock Nation has
and that's why
vertical or whatever integration. They have management. They have live venues. It's different for sure.
And Empire predates Rock Nation. Empire actually was built out of the major label system. I think they had Warner or Atlantic supporting them in their first couple years. Then they broke away. Right? Just like Rock Nation had some ties with Universal for distribution. Then they went out and bought a distribution company and separated themselves. Like, it's big business. Yeah, it's Jay-Z's company. So it's not going to look the same as a company that just started in somebody's garage. Like, what do you expect?
And that don't sound like independent to me, but
I get what you're saying.
Apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. They amazing album.
Did they own their shit? Did they
exactly
pay for the creation of it?
They did.
Well, I don't know.
The Clipse, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was under the impression they did. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But if they did those things, then I think that's independent.
Bro, if they didn't, I don't think they're able to walk away from Def Jam with that album.
Right.
Like, you leave, okay, cool.
Pusha T paid to walk away from Def Jam with that album. Paid millions of dollars. Could have swore they came up to y'all's show and told y'all that. This is the thing. And these niggas are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for 2 days of work per week and can't even remember what the artist told them in their fucking face.
Cool, but this is ours.
Right.
And you go and start from scratch and build whatever over there.
All right, maybe I'm a hater. I'm not calling Clipse independent. Because when we sat there and said, hey, how did you get away from Def Jam in that moment? They looked at Steven Victor over here, who has all the clout and cachet and relationship strength that one would need.
Steven Victor is a manager. Like, Steven Victor has relationships. That's what you get your manager to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Now, your manager makes you not independent because they have relationships? Is Joe not independent because he has Ian managing him? Ian is locked in with everybody in every corner of the entertainment business and beyond. He's locked in with politicians. He's locked in with all type of crazy shit going on, which is why he's been able to elevate Joe Budden's business to the level of making 20 million in a year, because that's not what it was 5 years ago. Are y'all not independent because you got Prize Picks advertisements on your show? It's craziness.
And if he needed to just write a quick $6 million check, if he did that, then he could do that.
That was Pusha T's money, not Steven Victor's.
While I
Is
agree
that
with
independent?
you, while I agree with you, and I'm with you, I also don't like taking away from independence because they did a really fucking good job.
Yeah, that's what that
You know
sounds
what
like.
I mean? Like, I think we should normalize independence looking and operating really fucking well and functional.
I got the right people around me.
As opposed to
Like
finding
you.
a loophole, like, oh, it's not quite independent because Jay-Z's there. It's like, oh, I mean, is it or is it not? Like, just because they did a good job doesn't make it not independent.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's crazy how it took Parks to break that down. But Parks works on a lot of independent projects, so he can kind of give a little bit more context to the new business. But if you can understand Empire's not a major label, although they've taken a lot of former major label acts and turned them up after leaving. Same thing. 30 Tigers distribution. Same thing. They don't deal so much with hip hop other than like Lupe, but same shit. Fucking where did Royce go for the Book of Ryan and well, not the Book of Ryan, but the Allegory and Layers? Who was he with at that time? Royce was with E1, but if you actually lived through 2019, 2020 following Royce, no, Book of Ryan was, that was before the Allegory. But E1. And if you were keeping up with Royce at that time, he was doing all the press too. He was doing interviews. He was doing freestyles. He was on fucking Funk Flat. Like, he was making his rounds. And he had a pretty star-studded fucking list of people on his shit too. Book of Ryan had Eminem, Fabulous, J. Cole, T-Pain, Logic, Jadakiss, Pusha T. Had beats from Boy Wonder, Drake's producer, Cool and Dre, DJ Khalil, Mr. Porter. Like, if you've been in the industry long enough, you've developed enough relationships, you can make an independent release look like a major release. And you can sell a considerable amount with that release. You just got to stick to it. I think Joe should try it himself in 2025, 26. You know what I mean? Put out an independent project. This is the most famous you've ever been. You got a whole dedicated crowd of people. You could sell that bitch to your 70,000 Patreon subscribers. Joe could probably move 60,000 units if he did it the right way. Try it out. See for yourself. But let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I will catch y'all on the next one. More content to come. Y'all be good out there. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.